Welcome, everybody, and thank you for listening to Jedi Eternal, Episode 7. Today, I am your co-host, Braxton Taylor, here with my co-host, Andrew Jedi General Bolin.
Jedi General? That's a new one. I like it.
I don't know. I was just thinking something Star Wars related. I don't know. Andrew, how you doing, man?
I am, well, I have bronchitis, but
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Other than that, I'm pretty good. How are you?
Oh, that's pretty good. Pretty good. I don't have bronchitis, so I'm
That's
doing
good.
better than you, obviously.
That's good. This is our last episode in my current home.
Yeah.
I'll be moving next week, and then so next Friday should be very interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not even really sure where exactly we'll be doing it at, but it'll be fun.
Yeah. So if we don't get an episode out next week, he's probably just homeless. I think it's probably
Yeah. I didn't get fully moved in. I'm sleeping on the side of a street somewhere.
We're like recording in a McDonald's parking lot. Okay. So, all right, guys. So before we get too far into our episode today, we just want to go ahead and just for a quick moment thank each and every one of you for listening to this podcast. Like I said, we're in 7 episodes deep now, and it seems like it's went really long time and really short at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like I said, we've put a lot of work into this, but we really have been enjoying it. And as of sitting right now, we have approximately 494 Facebook likes on our page. And first of all, we just thank you so much for those of you who are listening, who are liking our page and interacting. Truly, it's an awesome experience to be able to have fans and not even just fans, but people who like Star Wars and just want to hear what we have to say.
Yeah, and it's like I told my dad, he was asking me about it the other day, and I told him, it's like, there's people that we don't know at all, that we never talk to, that are taking the time to review us, to spread positivity and tell us how much they enjoy it and stuff. And it's like, there's just such nice people out there. And I can't thank you guys enough.
Exactly. Some of the reviews you guys leave, it's just like, I'm not even joking. It sounds so cheesy, but like I was at the work the other day, I was reading one of the reviews that someone left, and like I literally just said there, like my desk was like smiled. I'm like, man, like we thank you guys again. We're not trying to get all mushy on air here, but truly, guys, it does mean a lot. It does mean a lot. As we stated in the first episode, it was just like two guys, best friends, just being stupid, love Star Wars. We just want to talk, and like, why not put microphones in front of us?
Right.
We do it anyway, so might as well.
Yeah.
But for you guys to be listening and liking our stuff, it's awesome. But with that being said, so we're at 494 likes on Facebook, and we wanted to do something special at 500 likes. We've been talking about that for a little bit. We wasn't sure what, but we kind of have settled on a plan here. And that is when we reach 500 likes, and we're only 6 away, we are planning to do a contest where we're going to put a post on the Facebook page, and we're going to have a contest where we're going to do a drawing. And the winner of that contest will win the novelization of Rise of Skywalker, which is coming out March 7th. Yeah,
which is the expanded edition, so it's going to have a lot of extra content in there. So
I'm honestly, and I mean, you guys, as listening to this podcast, I'm not a great reader. Like, I read all the time, but mostly for work and for school. So, to be honest with you, sometimes my brain just doesn't want to read on my free time. But even I am really excited. And I know Andrew's definitely excited.
Yeah. I'm very much looking forward to it.
He's a reader from way back. So
all my life.
But guys, I mean, and honestly though, this is the end of the Skywalker saga. And truly, I mean, love or hate the movie, there is things that are missing. There's details that we don't know, and this book is going to be so awesome because it's going to try to wrap everything up. I mean, we're going to get into this later, because we don't want to spoil anything right off the bat, but there is some big newsworthy things about some of the characters that we've been seeing leaked and stuff like that. And we're going to talk about that later in kind of our spoiler area. But with that being said, you guys are going to want to pick this book up. But you do not have to pay for this. We will, if you win this contest, we will pre-order for you and ship it to your home for free.
So what do they need to do to win this?
Good
giveaway?
Question. If you want to win this book, no, if you want to win this book, we're going to be, like I said, as soon as first of all, we have to get to 500 likes on Facebook.
So go ahead and encourage people to like our Facebook page.
Yeah, if you're listening and haven't liked yet, like the page now. Just kidding. But for real though, if you guys haven't liked the page, please go like it. It's going to help us quite a bit. And also, if you have liked it, but some friends that would maybe be interested, please invite them to like it. Says as soon as we get to 500 likes, we will create a post that's talking about the book, and it's going to be talking about this contest. And here's how you get entered to win this book, absolutely for free. And that is, you have to like. It's kind of the quintessential Facebook drawing thing.
Yeah, you probably know the routine.
You gotta know the routine, but for real though, you have to like the post, you have to share the post, and you have to make a comment where you tag 3 of your friends or family or whomever, right?
Yeah. And once that's done, we'll randomly select a winner, and and we will direct message you for a address to send it to you.
Yep, absolutely. And like I said, this will be running for 3 days. So when you guys have to keep your eye out for this post, because we don't know when we're going to get to 500 likes, right? We would just say we're going to drop it today, but we got to get to that 500 like mark.
Yeah, and if it's done quick enough, there's a good chance that we can pre-order it and it'd be shipped to your home by release date.
Yeah,
as long as that stuff.
Awesome.
And so you might get this on the release date if we get to the 500 likes quick enough. So that's exciting.
Yeah, we don't want to ramble on about this, but we think it's going to be a great opportunity for us and for you guys. I mean, hey, all you guys have to do is click a few buttons, and boom, you could be entered to win the brand new Rise of Skywalker Expanded Edition novel.
And we're excited to give it away to someone.
Yeah, and we really want to give it to you guys. It's going to be great. So just keep your eyes out for that post. Please like and share the page as it is. And when we get to 500 likes, keep your eyes out for that, because it's only going to be up for 3 days, guys. And I mean, for real though, if there's only like 2 people, you got a 50% chance. Now, we don't want 2 people. We want a lot of people. But
somebody's got to win.
But somebody's got to win it. So it might as well be you. Come on, man. Anyway, okay. So ramble on enough, but exciting stuff, guys, and we thank you again for listening. But let's get into our regularly scheduled program, and let's get right into the program. Anyway, so first news story of the week, and that is Disney has released an updated release calendar, and within that, Star Wars movies are still scheduled for 2022, 2024, and 2026. So, interesting stuff, because we have been hearing a lot of rumors like, oh, we don't know if we're going to have movies or not in the upcoming future. We're going to just focus on the TV shows on Disney Plus. We're going to be focusing on books and comics and things like that. Because we honestly, I think we had spoken about this right before, like the podcast before Project Luminous was revealed. And we were saying, like, what is going to be the High Republic? Is it going to be Project Luminous, which is the new book stuff, or is it going to be movies? And I honestly thought it was going to be the movies, but obviously not, right?
Right.
So, what is your opinion on this? I mean, if we're still going to be getting a movie in 2 years, essentially, what is it going to be?
Well, I don't know what it's going to be, but I am very excited that this still seems to be the case, is that we are going to get these movies 22, 24, and 26.
Right.
It looks like the plan is still Avatar, Avatar 2, Star Wars, Avatar 3, Star Wars, Avatar 4, Star Wars. So that's still their plan. If you guys hear sirens, that is the tornado siren. It's just it's just like the, scheduled practice.
I didn't know about this. I'm kind of freaking out. Like, what's going on?
Braxton's like looking around all like freaked out. Just so you know, it's just a test.
Okay, good.
So anyways, so they're still continuing that back and forth. I'm really glad to see this is still the case, because I know with just recent events and with the way Rise of Skywalker had went and stuff, there was some question on if they were still doing those movies in the scheduled times that they had. So now that they've updated their calendar and they're still there, that gives me hope that that's still the plan. So we'll just have to see. We'll have to see where it goes. Yeah,
absolutely. And here's the thing: having a new movie, it's going to be great. Because it's going to really show us what they're capable of, or not necessarily what they're capable of, but what is Disney, what is Lucasfilm, what is all these people, the story writers, what have they learned over the past couple years and things like that. So it'd be good. So
let's go on to our next one here. Our next one is actually kind of an update on a previous news story we had last week, and that's with Star Wars Adventures. Now, I want to apologize to everyone, because we gave out news that from every source I had told us that this next Star Wars Adventure series was going to be the very first story set after Rise of Skywalker. Well, some updates have came with that, and that's no longer the case, it appears. What it's saying now is that it's going to begin in May 2020, and it's going to be set between the events of The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
So my question here is this going to be the case for the entire series, or is it just starting out?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Is it just starting out before the Rise of Skywalker, but then like does end up progressing after the Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah, and that, like I said, that is a great question. I don't really know that answer. Obviously, none of us know, but I think what would make, I would say what makes sense, right, is that they start off, in between 8 and 9, and then they progress afterwards. I could see them doing that, but again, I just can't express my shock enough as I did last time that an IDW series would be the first thing that we see post our
right, and that's
Skywalker.
I was so puzzled by that. So if this is the case and it's not actually true, then I think honestly good. I think that's kind of for the best.
Yeah.
But I do just wanted to make that clear. And again, we apologize if we were spreading false information, but
it's not our intent.
It kind of seemed like everyone was. So again, I don't know how that started and where that really began, but
right.
It does not appear to be the case, at least at the beginning of this series. So just to make that clear.
It might get there, but it's not starting off that way.
Right.
All right. So let us move on to our next news for the week, and that is, so first of all, so Ron Howard, in a sense, confirms that Bryce Dallas Howard truly is directing an episode in Mandalorian. And he didn't come out exactly and say it, but when IGN made a post about the rumors, Ron Howard retweeted that.
Right, he retweeted it.
So, I mean, to us, that is not maybe, oh, yes, this is happening, but I think it's worthy enough to be put on the news because, why would he repost that if not, right?
Right. I mean, it's basically confirming it.
Exactly.
Because, I mean, there's no way he'd be posting that if it wasn't true.
Exactly. So with that being said, though, there's a secondary piece of information for this news for the week, and that is James Mangold. That's his name, right? James?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. James Mangold tweeted underneath that post, and then he says that he is not a part of The Mandalorian. So that's pretty interesting because there's a lot of rumors going around with Bryce and a lot of rumors of James and all these people. Yeah. But so we pretty much have a confirmation that Bryce is coming back for an episode, and we got a confirmation that James is not a part of it. So yeah, what do you think about that?
Well, yeah, I mean, he said, I'm so pleased if it's true about Bryce directing another part of Mandalorian, but I can tell you it's not true about me. Not doing it, never discussed it. And so he suggested fans should look at who's reporting this and make a note that these sites present conjecture as fact.
Yeah, well, and he's being very defensive about this. I'm not sure what the deal is, but...
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I think, it's kind of interesting. But again, I would say we cannot say this is a confirmed thing by Lucasfilm.
Right.
So, there is a little bit of question still, but the fact that Ron Howard posted this about his daughter directing, again, I would say that that's pretty much a go. But yeah, James Mangold does not appear to be any part of it.
Right. And like I said, and of all people, I think Ron Howard would know. But
yeah, so let's go into our last news here today. And this is just a quick update. Disney has scrapped the Disney Plus launch event in London. That was going to be last night. It's no longer happening, but we do know that there was going to be some appearances or updates on some of the Star Wars media, some of the Star Wars shows and things. So there is apparently going to be some journalists are going to see some demos and things today.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, we won't be covering it on our show today, but later today you might find out some information coming out of this that might end up appearing on news sites and stuff. So be looking out for that. And if there is, we'll cover it next week.
Yeah, and that was kind of our hope, is that since it was supposed to be yesterday, we was hoping we'd get that information yesterday.
So that's unfortunate, but
and then we'd be able to report on today. But it is what it is. And so let's go on to that. Like I said, we'll have more information on that for sure next podcast. But
if anything is truly shown. We'll see. There may not actually be anything Star Wars. It's
who
not.
Knows? It might be another Disney like Cinderella film that we're talking about or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll also post that on the Facebook page if we get some stuff in there as well. So let's move on to our rumor segment, and that is first one of the week. Ant-Man director Peyton Reed has reportedly directed 2 episodes of The Mandalorian in season 2, which is very interesting. I have some thoughts on that, but Andrew, what do you think about that?
So Murphy's Multiverse is the person who has leaked this. Now he says he does make it very clear that this is not a confirmed thing. He was not able to get a complete this is happening, but he did get this from a source that has confirmed multiple or has had accurate information about multiple Marvel Studio projects in the past. So he feels like this is a pretty good source, but it's saying that Peyton Reed is going to direct 2 episodes of the Mandalorian season, and he also mentions that Taika Waititi is going to again, which I think that's a given.
Yeah, at this point, yeah.
But, I love Ant-Man.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's great.
Well, and so I have some thoughts on this, and I'm like, let's say 78.963%. Really specific. Just kidding. But I'm good with it. But one thing I will say is that those movies are very CGI oriented for obvious reasons, but one thing is that Star Wars is not, or they're trying to keep it in the modern stuff. They're trying to keep it to the original, prosthesis, practical effects. So it is going to be interesting. If anything, it's going to be an interesting challenge for Peyton Reed to try to transverse that gap there between the CGI versus practical effects. Also, those are very whimsical movies.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, that's because that's the character, right? Ant-Man was always whimsical and silly and crazy and stuff. So he did a good job in that. So I'm interested to see if he's just the kind of director that takes things in a whimsical way, or he just did a whimsical movie because that's who the character is. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be interesting to see. I'm looking forward to. He did great. I love the movies. I do. I'm just thinking it's going to be interesting to see him kind of bridge these gaps here and see how he tailors that to the Star Wars universe.
Right, and that's of course all if it's true. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
So this next rumor we have here is one I'm really excited about. A data mining bot allegedly located a Star Wars title called Project Maverick on the PlayStation Network store.
Yeah.
Another project.
Project.
This appears to be some kind of upcoming game. And if you remember a while back, from a Kotaku article that we read, I'm not sure which episode we talked about that in, but Jason Schreier had claimed there were 2 video games in the works. There was a sequel to Jedi Fallen Order.
Yep.
And then a smaller, more unusual project at EA Motive in Montreal, Canada.
Yep.
I believe Project Maverick is that.
Well, because like you said, the article that I read, it literally says, and like I said, the same thing. A data mining bot allegedly located Star Wars title called Project Maverick in PlayStation Network Store, and it says this is a smaller, more unusual project. Interestingly enough, that's the same exact language that was used for the other project that was being talked about. So, for me, this is an interesting thing. I mean, first of all, we had spoken and was like hoping, okay, I really hope this is not, small and unusual. Hopefully it's not like a mobile game.
Yeah.
We were really concerned about that because, I mean, mobile games is fun. I love playing games on my phone, but at the same time, like if I'm going to get a new Star Wars game, I don't want it to be, I want it to be a console game. I want it to where I can sit down and play this, And so it is hopeful for us that knowing that this, if this is truly true, right, it is on the PlayStation Network store. So I think
it's definitely true.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
The only thing we don't have is the actual announcement.
Sure.
But the fact that it's already on the PlayStation store, we have this image, which is, it shows like a Star Destroyer in the background, and it kind of looks like even maybe there's some like lava or something, maybe like a Mustafar type deal going on, but it could just be the art, the way the art is. It may be just kind of making it look that way. But the fact, there's so many ways this could go, but I wonder if this is maybe a ship-based game, like ship combat,
Well, keep talking there for a second. I want to look something real quick.
And so they do say it's a smaller project. I also have read that based off what they saw there, it kind of looks like it's a beta. They're preparing a beta, multiplayer beta. So it's going to have a multiplayer element. It may be only multiplayer. And I kind of wonder about that as well. This could be again kind of a spin-off of the Battlefront series, or maybe it's focusing just on ship combat.
Well, so I was gonna say, so this is what I want to look up because I make sure I have my facts right. But on the N64, if you remember this game, Star Wars Rogue Squadron.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
It was a great game, and it was all ship based. So could it be, they say smaller, but they could make a great big game out of this. But it's smaller just in the fact that there's not going to be like just infinite amount of characters spanning all the trilogies. Like Battlefront. We have all
we
these
don't really know
characters,
exactly what they mean by that term.
Right, like small, quote unquote. But anything below Battlefront will be small compared to Battlefront because Battlefront's a huge endeavor. With that being said, though, it very well could be a ship-based thing because, like I said, all we see in the picture is a Imperial Star Destroyer.
Yeah, and I heard some people say they saw some X-wings, but I sure don't see them in this picture. But again, it may just.
Oh, yeah.
Do you see them?
There is. Yep.
If
you look below, if you look at the picture, for those of you at home, if you're looking at the Star Destroyer, you go down and to the left, right next to what looks like the lava. If you zoom in, there is X-wings.
Really?
Yep.
I'm just blind, I guess. I still. Oh, I do see them. They're very, very small.
They're very small. Yeah, there's four of them.
Okay, so that really makes me think that that's kind of where this is headed in some kind of ship-based combat, which would be cool. And they already, we know that with Battlefront they already have all of that. So if they use the tech and things they already have with Battlefront, it'd be pretty easy to build a game around that.
I agree with that. The only issue I would have with Project Maverick being a fully ship-based game is that we already have that in Battlefront, right? Battlefront has ship and ground combat.
Well, there's got to be more to it than just that, I would think. But I don't know exactly. What
would be cool is, like, again, one of two or three things here is that, like Rogue Squadron, you could have all these plethora of ships. Like you had, every ship that you could think of was in Rogue Squadron, right? Back on the N64, and so that's what it would have to be for me. Is something where you can get just every ship imaginable on that game in the Star Wars universe, and maybe even like some kind of customization thing where you can kind of create your own ship or something along those lines, and have some multiplayer. But to me, this almost sounds like this is not going to be a AAA title. This is going to be like a $40 game. You know what I'm saying? With online capabilities.
Absolutely. I don't think this is going to be a $60 game.
No, I don't think so.
I'd be surprised if it's a $60 game. I think this might even be a digital only title.
Oh, 100%. I'm almost confident about that.
I think this is going to be something just to kind of hold fans over for whatever, exactly. For the next really big title. It's going to I can't say exactly for sure what it will be, but I'm super interested, and I think we're going to find out very, very soon.
I would imagine so. If it's
already on the store, I think they're preparing this beta. It's going to be kind of a test for what maybe the full game will be, give people a taste of it, test some things, and so I think that we're going to be hearing about this very soon.
I'd imagine so. So guys, keep your eyes on it. If we hear anything, obviously it will be on the Facebook and Twitter page, and we'll talk about that next time. But let's get on to our final rumors for the week, and that is the High Republic is supposedly getting a VR game, which is very interesting because here's the thing. People doing the Vader Immortals series for the VR, they are done with it now. So, it kind of makes sense. What are they moving on to next? So, off the bat for me, I thought, man, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense because they were very explicit in saying that Project Luminous is not going to be TV, not going to be movies, it's not going to be games. It's going to be comics and books, and that is it. So it would kind of go against their word, you know what I'm saying, if they're making a game, but not to say that they wouldn't do that. I'm sure that they would. But, we talked about this last episode when we had High Republic being our main topic, but truly, in both of our opinions, I speak for us both, saying that Project Luminous is not going to be solely comics and books. This is a proving ground or a testing ground, and if people like it, then it's going to move on to something else.
And I'd say, I don't think they're lying about saying, hey, this is what's the word they've been using? A publishing thing only.
Publishing effort.
Yeah, publishing effort. I'm not saying that they're lying about that, but I do think that if there is a VR game in the work, it's probably very, very early.
Oh yeah.
The Vader Immortal series they just finished that not that long ago. Great series. If you guys have access to an Oculus, do it. And I've played them. I love them. They're fantastic. So I think if they're making this, it's very early on, and it's going to be a while before we can even see it.
Yeah.
It's going to be, it could be a good while. And so maybe by the time this VR game is ready, they're in phase 2. And phase 2, maybe they're going to open it up a little more and be like this. Now we're adding in a couple things. We're adding in a VR game. We're adding in maybe they're going to start talking about a TV show, or I don't think it'll actually come in phase 2. I think it'd be longer than that.
It'll be, at least phase 3.
But we know we know this is coming in phases. Right. And so as these phases go on, I think things might open up a little more depending on the feedback, depending on how much people like it. So I could see this VR game still being in talks. I don't know that there's much production being done on it yet.
Oh, I'd imagine,
And this could be a completely false rumor. But to me, this does make sense. This does appear to, because these games, like the Vader Immortal games, it's kind of hard to even call them a game. They're more like a
experience.
They're an experience. They're not really a game as much as like you're almost experiencing a story. It's almost more like a movie or like a visual novel type deal.
So that's what I was going to allude to. So here's the thing for me. We are not getting movie and we're not getting film, right? But yet we're going into this whole new area of the Star Wars universe that we've never explored before. So wouldn't it make sense that it's not inherently a game, but they're using the VR technology to introduce us visually to this High Republic era?
Yeah.
Right? We got the books and we got the comics, which comics will, to some extent, show us what the universe is like. But visually, should I say. But the thing is like the books and the comics are going to get us a good lore and it's going to get us a story. But the VR title could be something just kind of basic, like, using your lightsaber to like block bolts. Yeah, but I'm saying it's going to show us visually what it looks like, what it feels like.
Right. And trust me, in VR, when you get to grab a lightsaber and like turn it on, you're like, oh, this is the best thing ever. It feels so good.
Oh yeah. So anyway, I can imagine that being the case. And like I said, I would imagine that we're not going to see this for a while though. So if it is the case,
we'll just have to see if this turns out to be anything or not. But
let's move on to our releases for the week. We got several here. Andrew, take that away.
So we have a good week of releases. We have Kylo Ren issue 4, which is the final issue. I'm really excited. I think that there's a lot of potential for this last issue, and that is coming on the 11th. And then we have Darth Vader issue, I believe it's 2, will be on Wednesday as well. Of course, if you guys have listened to a couple episodes back where we talked about the first issue, there's some really big stuff we're waiting to learn and find out in this coming issue. Mm-hmm. And then we have a brand new series starting, and this is called Bounty Hunters. Now, this series will be Valance, which if you know if you've kept up with like Legends, Valance was a character in Legends, and they've kind of brought him back. And along with him in this series will be Bosk and Boba Fett. So you got this trio of very well-known bounty hunters. Mm-hmm. So that'll be very interesting, and that series will start on Wednesday as well. And then on Friday, as usual, we will get a Clone Wars episode, and this will be episode 4 of Clone Wars.
Yeah. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get into our main topic. Or no, I'm sorry, no, we're not. I forgot like last time.
We are going to go into our main topic.
We are going into our Q&A.
Yes.
And then we're going to get to our main topic, because our main topic has some spoilery stuff. We're going to do, the main thing is the Clone Wars episode 2 and episode 3 review, but we also have some things very important we want to talk about the lineage Rey and the whole Palpatine thing. So we're gonna get into that. We don't want to spoil anything, so we want to like have that separated. So those who want to hear it can. If those who want to come back later on can. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So we're gonna do our Q&A first to avoid any of the
Let
spoilers.
us do our Q&A first. So, with that being said, we have 2 questions this week coming from our 2 good friends here, Noah Aguilar and Josh and Birkinshaw. So we thank you guys for answering these or asking these questions. And guys, we want to encourage those of you who are listening to hop on our Facebook page and interact with us. Man, we have a great community over there that's slowly but surely growing. And like I said, every week we have polls and updates on the news and stuff. And we also, like I said, every Thursday day we have Q&A forum posts where you can ask questions, you can bring up topics, you can ask, any kind of suggestion. And like I said, guys, you don't have to just ask a question. If you have a topic you want to bring up, just like, hey, just talk about this, right? Or if you have a suggestion of something that we can do, throw it in there. It's completely open. So we do have 2 questions though this week, and like the first one comes from Noah, and he asks, I've been playing Republic Commando and want to know who is your favorite clone trooper. So I have, like I said, I have 2 that I really like, and I swear, guys, I know more than just like the basic characters, but I feel like my answers are always so generic when I answer these questions.
If you picked my 2, I'm gonna be so mad.
I don't know. I think I definitely have one of them, but I don't.
Okay.
I don't think I have the other one. I don't know
Okay.
what your other one is. We haven't discussed this. Sometimes we discuss beforehand, but we trying not to do that.
Yeah.
But but I know I'm pretty sure our first one is the same, which is Captain Rex.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's Captain Rex. I mean, he is quintessential. I mean, like I said, it's to some people that might be a generic answer, but we don't get to see a whole lot of him in the movies. But when he comes into the Clone Wars, I mean, he is just such a great character, and as the seasons progress, he just gets so fleshed out as a character, especially now as we're in season 7. I mean, we get to see this mental struggle of this just pioneering, strong, loyal leader such as Rex. He's now like questioning things, It's just cool to see his progression. That's what I'm trying to say.
He's basically one of the biggest characters of the Clone Wars.
Oh yeah.
It's like Dave Filoni just said. They asked Dave Filoni why he picked the arcs he did for the final season of Clone Wars, and he said the first arc, the Bad Batch arc, is actually Rex's story. Is what he said. He said the second one is Ahsoka's, and the third is them coming together. And so, I mean, you got it from Dave Filoni himself. He said this series is about Rex and about Ahsoka.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I mean, it's kind of about Obi-Wan and Anakin too, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, I like to think that it's also. I mean, we're kind of biased.
But those are also the 2 characters like he created for the show. So I get his.
He's gonna say that.
Yeah, I get that. But anyways, Rex is such an important character and a very likable character, and so he's definitely one of my favorites for sure.
Yeah.
What's your second?
So my second one is I'm not as passionate about him as Rex, but it's probably Wolf. I love Commander Wolf.
Okay, I actually didn't have this.
Yeah, okay. I didn't think you'd have this as a second one, but Commander Wolf is cool. I mean, he serves under Plo Koon. Plo Koon was one of my favorite Jedis. Obi-Wan's definitely my number one, but he's just my number one character in general. But Plo Koon, I love the way he looks. I love the way he fights, and I don't know. I just feel like Plo Koon, like, it was the second best Jedi that really exemplified the Jedi traits of just being diplomatic, trying to be a peacekeeper, and I just love him as a character. But it's kind of reflected through Commander Wolf as well, but yeah, it's kind of compare and contrast kind of thing, right? Like Plo Koon is just very diplomatic, but Wolf is like, let me get in there, let me fight, but he's just always so good. And then just see him lose his eye, and then but along with Gregor, it was him, Rex, and Gregor that don't go through with Order 66.
Yeah,
and that to me, that was one. I love that relationship. Like Rex is the kind of calm-headed one, and Wolf is like, let me go get it. The first time they see each other, like he's wanting to like kill Ezra. It's like, it's a Jedi, get him. But anyway, I love the dichotomy between not Gregor, Wolf and Rex. I love that team up there.
So mine is actually Commander Cody. And,
really?
Yeah, and
okay,
so
cool.
I feel like Commander Cody has not gotten as much attention in newer things and in Clone Wars and stuff as he I feel like he got more attention back like in Legends before Rex was created and that stuff.
Yeah.
And so even as like being a kid years ago, I was really into Commander Cody. I thought he was cool because he was kind of that first clone that we got a name for and realized he was not just a regular clone.
And I think that's kind of part of the reason why I like Rex as well. But yeah. Absolutely.
Right, but we didn't get that with Rex till Clone Wars.
Well, right.
Where like in the movie in Episode 3, you know, Obi-Wan's calling him Cody and stuff, and so you got that relationship, and Obi-Wan had that relationship with the clone, and that's kind of the first time we really understood that and saw that, and so he was more important in some of the like comics and stuff back in Legends, and so I was really into him. But then to see him turn on Obi-Wan was such a heartbreaking moment.
That's exactly what I was going to
say. To see his, you know, someone he had gotten so close to in war and everything, and then for him to turn on him, it was just heartbreaking. And so I really like the story of that character. And even today, I'm still like, man, I wish Commander Cody would have. And I want the story of Commander Cody after that.
Yeah,
I would love to see.
How did he deal with?
I would love to
knowing
see
he killed his best friend or something.
Yeah, I would love to see where that character goes after.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get that one day.
And the fact that we haven't yet is kind of surprising to me.
Yeah,
but you know, and I was kind of the same wavelength.
Or wait, or did he die? I say that, and then I'm like thinking back, like, did he get killed during that?
That's a good question.
I don't think Obi-Wan killed him. I think Obi-Wan ran off on the. I don't know what the big thing is that he rides on. What is that called?
Flying lizard thing.
Yeah.
We should probably know that, but
I can't do his thing. But
oh no, we don't need to do that.
I shouldn't even try. But anyways,
I just looked it up. I don't know if this is canon or not. I mean, I'm assuming it is, but we'll see. It says Commander Cody survived through the end of the Clone Wars, well into the Imperial period.
Yeah, so he's. We don't have an ending for him. So,
yeah.
Anyways, it'd be cool to see that. But we should probably get on to the next question.
Because we are going well into our time, about halfway through here, and we still have our main topics. We need to go. All right, so our second question.
My wife's going to be mad at me.
Oh, gosh. It's too long. It's more than an hour. Anyway.
She's going to get on to me for saying that. I'm in so much trouble.
It's 36 minutes in. She ain't going to listen to it. I'm just kidding.
She turned it off a long time ago.
Oh, the first 10 minutes was really good. You guys sound so professional. All right. Our second question comes from Josh in Birkinshaw. And he asked kind of a dual question here. Would you like to see Darth Bane TV show and or film? And who would be the ideal person to play him? Also, would you like to see Kyle Katarn become canonized through film and TV once more? And who would play him? So I have pretty strong feelings about this. Well, let's first step back and say I think I can speak for me and Andrew both, and probably for most Star Wars fans. Yes, we want a Darth Bane TV show or film.
Absolutely. I want it. Give it to me.
I want it. Gimme.
I want more Darth Bane. I want it in novels, comics,
anything,
movies, TV shows. Give me all of it. I want more of that story.
And I think like I said, I think we can probably speak for him and I both that we want to see Kyle Katarn. I think it'd be awesome to see Kyle Katarn.
Loved Kyle Katarn back playing Jedi Outcast.
Yes.
I mean, in Dark Forces, all that stuff. He was such a great character back then, one of the coolest Star Wars characters in my opinion back in Legends days, and he was kind of like a Han Solo type. But then
more
turned into a Jedi,
well,
and so
he was a stormtrooper first, right?
Right.
Yeah. So he was like a stormtrooper and then turned,
And so like. But he then he had a lightsaber and stuff, but he never was truly like a Luke Skywalker type. But he always had this like a little bit of an edge to him.
It's like smuggler turned good kind of thing.
And so he was a great character.
Yeah,
I grew up loving Kyle Katarn, and I would love to see him back in canon. And I think it's only a matter of time. Well, I think a character like Kyle Katarn, I think they can't keep away for too long.
I have opinions on that.
But the only problem is where canon has went in the years that Kyle Katarn would have been around. It no longer makes sense for him to be around. So either they've got to save Kyle Katarn for some time in the future past Rise of Skywalker, or they have to like introduce him back into like prequel era, which would be kind of weird.
So here's my opinion on this. So first of all, Darth Bane, I mean, it's a no-brainer. We want it. We have to have it. We will riot if we don't get it.
Yes.
But But the thing is with Bane is like he was the most level. I mean, most level-headed Sith. I mean, saying that is kind of a weird thing to say, right? Because Sith are not level-headed. But he was the one that could see all the squabbling with all the Sith. You know, he's the one that could. You know, the Sith Empire will never truly survive if there's more than basically a master and apprentice. He instituted the rule of two. You know.
Yeah, and it's a little up in the air on how all that goes about now
With the canon.
With canon. But we used to have a fleshed out story for it, and it was fantastic. I wish they would have just kept it.
Right.
But whatever.
Well, but the thing is, we do know. And so here's the thing. I think it is, and I'll get to this in a second. But I think it's much more likely that we get something Darth Bane versus Kyle Katarn. Now,
agreed. I agree.
But here's the thing. First of all,
because Darth Bane's canon.
That's
sorry, I didn't realize that.
How dare you? Anyway, no. Darth Bane is already canon. He was never not canon.
Right, and he's even made one appearance
through Clone Wars season 5, I think it was. No, 6.
No, it would have been 6. It was Yoda's thing, right?
Yeah, it was his Force, whatever.
Yeah.
So, we are gonna see that. And also, if we got a Darth Bane TV show / film, whatever, we would get to see epic Sith versus Jedi battles.
It would be fantastic.
So
the story they could tell there. People would eat it up. I don't know why it's taking them so long to do it.
Yeah.
Literally just make a TV show about the very first novel.
Yeah.
That came out, Darth Bane by Drew. I'm not gonna be able to say his last name, Caprician or something like that. I always get it wrong, but fantastic novel, and it tells such a great story. And just kind of take that, and then of course make your changes to it that you need, and blah blah blah. But it's such a great story to build off of. I don't know why in the world they're not doing it.
I don't know.
And bring Drew back in to help with the story too. I'm telling you, he should be involved in these Star Wars stories. He was involved with Knights of the Old Republic. Why in the world they don't have this guy doing stuff? I don't know.
Well, I have an opinion on that, and that's what I'm going to get to. So, going to the Kyle Katarn part, would I like to see it? Of course. I mean, Jedi Outcast was an amazing game. I love the new story, but here's the thing. Disney wants to create their own stories. They do not like using other people's stories, obviously.
True. Obviously, yeah.
And we've seen that.
Well, and Kathleen Kennedy says they don't have any sources to. That blows me away every time. When she said so mad, she doesn't have any material to build off of.
What
or anything.
Are you talking about?
There's a whole expanded universe.
20 novels, comics.
20 novels. There's a lot more than that.
I mean, I'm just saying, I'm throwing that number out there. I'm saying a bunch of novels, comic. I mean. We don't need to get into that right now, but yes, that was so dumb. But anyway, that's my point. Disney loves to make their own content. They don't like to use other people's. Why? I don't know, but that's just the way they are. So, you're saying, okay, well then how would they make a Darth Bane series? It's not their content. Well, it's already been canonized though, right? It's never been not canon, so it's more likely they'd use something that's already established. And so they used like Palpatine, for instance, when he came back into Rise of Skywalker. And we were like, well, they were using stuff there. Well, he's already canon, right? He's already part of the story. So they just expanded on what had already been established. But Kyle Katarn is not canon whatsoever. There's nothing that ties him in. They would have to bring him back in and reinstitute him, and they're not going to do that. And
and again, in the way the story has gone now, it would be so hard to bring him back where he originally was in the time period and stuff. Because Luke Skywalker doesn't have a big fleshed out Jedi temple with tons and tons of students.
Because what we saw in it was basically just a bunch of kids.
He has a handful of kids. That's all it looked like it appeared to be. So.
Which is disappointing because the Jedi Academy game, so great. And
the huge Jedi temple that Anakin had with all of these students and stuff, and to see all their stories and stuff, it was so fantastic. I wish they could have kept that, but they didn't. So
So let's finish this question up. Basically, he asked, who would you get to play both of these characters? So,
and I think we're on the same page.
I think we're on the same page.
Yeah.
Basically, nobody.
Yeah.
And when I say that, I don't like to pick known people to play Star Wars characters. Now, why do I say that? Because except for some very minute exceptions, there's not been one famous person that plays a integral part of Star Wars. Almost every massive, well-known, well-established character in Star Wars has been played by an unknown actor. Now, we just kind of discussing this. There is a little bit of play there with Samuel Jackson, but we only saw him a little bit in the prequels, right? And he wasn't a huge part of those movies. I mean, he was, but he wasn't. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things. And really, Mace Windu was kind of tailored for Samuel L. Jackson himself, right?
Yeah, right.
When they made Samuel L. Jackson, Mace Windu, it was Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my point, right? And that's where I'm getting to my core of my point here, is that when I see Samuel L. Jackson, I don't think of Mace Windu. Now, I personally kind of do because I grew up watching the prequels and stuff, and but those of you who have watched Pulp Fiction back in the, what was it, 80s or 90s or whatever when it came out, all you see is the dude from Pulp Fiction blowing someone's head off. You don't see Mace Windu, right? And that's my point. You can't take, okay, Darth
Well, we had like
Vader.
Alec Guinness as Obi-Wan, and that was another like pretty popular character already. But for the most part, yeah, it's always like, for example, when they brought in Rey, like
Who is that person? Well, we never really heard of her.
The actress Daisy Ridley I don't think she had been like in any big movies or anything. She had done
a small movie, or
she had done like
show.
a small movie, or like I know she had done like a college like movie thing where they had gotten together and made a little short film, things like that. But she hadn't done anything.
Well,
and,
I mean, for instance,
and Adam Driver even hadn't really gone into anything too big yet.
Luke and Leia. I mean, they're some of the best characters in Star Wars, but they're no-name people that had no acting experience before that. I mean, they might have experience, but they weren't like in big movies and weren't famous. For instance, like Anakin and Obi-Wan. I think Ewan McGregor was in some stuff for it, but it wasn't like, he wasn't famous, right? That's my whole point. Is that the reason I say this is because, and this is a bit of a cop-out answer, so I'm sorry if you're winning, like you're like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as Darth Bane or something.
Well, a lot of people do want that, but
that's my point, is that when you get famous people to play new characters, it's subconscious. All you can see is who they've played in the past, or the trope they've played in the past, right? Like, for instance, Seth Rogen, right? Yeah. He's the fat, funny guy in every movie. But say we got him to play Darth Bane, and we locked him in a dank cellar and didn't feed him for like 3 months, and we beat him, and all he did was work out, and he shaved his head, and he's like this big, huge monster that has no feelings anymore. But all you can think of when you see Seth Rogen is still, so, that's pretty good. Actually. But you see what I'm saying? Like, you can change him physically, you can change his looks and his attitude, but he's still Seth Rogen. He's still the funny fat guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think they need to be no names, people that we have not seen before.
Yeah.
For both characters, if they ever do appear.
Yeah.
And I know Hollywood's all about getting the big names to get crowds out, and unfortunately, if The Rock played Darth Bane, there probably will be a bigger number of people that goes and sees it. But I don't,
not because of Star Wars, because it's The Rock.
Because it's The Rock. But I do believe that it would not be a good thing. I think we need to see a new face.
I agree.
As Bane.
So let's move on to our main topic. So guys, so we got a little bit of time left, and that. As we come to our main topic, as we discussed last episode, we will be discussing our review or our thoughts on Clone Wars Season 7, Episode 2 and Episode 3. Because last week we had such important news, we didn't have time to.
And we're gonna just go over those really quickly, because we do have something that I think is going to take quite a bit longer. We're going to talk about and the Rise of Skywalker Expanded Edition, which is not out yet, but there was a convention in Chicago. That they went ahead and released some. I don't know why they did it, but they released the novel early, and some of the stuff's gotten out, and it's everywhere. So we're going to go ahead and talk about it, even though I hate the fact that we're having to talk about this before the novel's even released. Yeah, but we are going to discuss it.
So that's why we was going to do it in news, but we wanted to group this all together because it is spoiler territory. Yeah. So right now, those of you who do not want spoilers in Clone Wars Season 7, Episode 2 and 3, and in the Rise of Skywalker Expanded Edition novel,
and Star Wars issue, the last issue of Star Wars. 4? I'm not sure what, because I have something I need to talk about with that too. So we're going to throw that in there as well.
This is our main topic.
It's just a spoiler main topip today. It's just like we're talking about some spoiler content in a lot of different areas.
If you really don't plan on reading the comics, if you really don't, if you were going to watch the episodes and you just want to review, but you're going to watch it later, by all means listen. So yeah, let's just dive into it.
Yeah, let's dive in.
So spoilers once more before we get in. So you're warned. But we hope you stay, or if you are leaving, hope you come back.
Yeah.
And let's do it again. So Clone Wars Season 7, Episode 2 and Episode 3. There is a lot that happened and not a ton at the same time.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I'm not super into it.
Yeah.
As we already know, this arc was basically already done.
Yeah.
As far as like the story itself goes, they have made some changes, and I'll mention one of those. In Episode 2, we get. Well, first of all, we get Obi-Wan Kenobi. So,
yes.
Yeah, one small little appearance by Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it's my favorite part of the entire Season 7 so far. He goes, and Anakin, is talking to Padme, and he's got Rex keeping watch for him.
Oh, yeah.
They have that whole little back and forth, and they won't tell Obi-Wan what's going on, even though Obi-Wan knows. And the best thing ever, as he's walking, as Anakin's walking away, Obi-Wan's like, well, you could at least tell Padme hi for me, or whatever. so good.
And there's two things I want to say about that I've kind of thought about. And first thing is, people who are surprised that Obi-Wan knew, well, I don't even know what to say to you, because here's the thing. People are like, oh, what? How does he know? How does he not know? Right? First of all, they're like best friends, father and son figure, brothers. I don't know, whatever. They've heard all these different references, but they're so close to one another. And how would he not know about this? Secondarily, in the Force, you can feel those kinds of things. How would he not know if he's that close to him?
Yeah, and we've always known Obi-Wan knows, but this is the very first direct, Obi-Wan's just saying, hey, I know all about this. Why are you... Why are you still hiding it from me?
Well, and the best part is that he actually, because we watched the episode twice, but if you actually go rewatch it, he wasn't going to mention anything. In fact, he's just going to talk.
I don't think he was. You're right. Until
because he's like Anakin, we need to talk to you about this. He's like, well, yeah, it's whatever. Oh, well, let me talk to you about. Oh no, yes. He kept dismissing him.
He kept dismissing him.
And then all of a sudden, you can look at Obi-Wan's face, and he kind of gets a scowl on his face, like. Fine.
He's like, fine, I'll call you out.
Yeah, you want to play games? All right. Hey, did you tell Padme I said hi? It's actually
such
really
a
great.
Phenomenal scene. And what's interesting, that scene is the added addition in Episode 2, because in the original making of that, they had a scene where Padme, the Bad Batch, had on their ship has an artwork of Padme as a pinup girl, and she's got she's showing her whole leg and stuff, and sitting there all risque and Anakin walks up on it, and he's all
flustered, and bothered.
Kind of bothered that they have it on there, and that kind of showed in that Rex knew, because Rex kind of has a little back and forth with Anakin there, and that was showing that Rex knew about their relationship.
Well, and so we get that though, because
we still get that. Get that, but we have also added this layered part with Obi-Wan, and I think it was a great new
I'm glad they
thing
changed
they
it.
added.
Yeah.
I'm glad they changed it. I thought it was good.
So, and then like I said, as we know, we go on and we're on the homeworld of the Techno Union, and we're not gonna. One thing we did in the first episode, we're not gonna do anymore is kind of explain the episode.
We're not gonna explain the story, you guys. I mean, if you care enough, you've probably already watched it, and you just want to hear our thoughts.
Yeah.
And so
let's just move on. Let's just keep going. It is interesting that we got to see Wat Tambor again. Not a lot of him in the movies or the show, so it is interesting to see him again. Let's just cut to the chase here. On Episode 2, we get to see the fact that Echo is still alive. Echo is still alive. And that he's
pretty messed up.
Yeah.
But he's alive.
So he's plugged up to a machine, essentially, where they're analyzing his brain waves, and they're basically reading his mind, and they're able to find all the clone
they're basically using
tactics.
it, as for strategies and stuff.
So one thing I got to point out, which I thought was kind of funny, and here's one thing that I will say about the new Clone Wars season. It looks beautiful, but they're not really the decisions they make on some things are just kind of weird, in terms of the animation or basically I'll show you. So they're basically just utilizing essentially this barely hanging on to life clone to read his brain, right? But when he comes out of the tank thing that he's being held in, he has mechanical legs. why did they give him mechanical legs? You know what I'm saying? Like, all he's supposed to do for the rest of his duration of his life is to be in this tank, and they're just reading his brainwaves. Like, why didn't they just, make it to where he didn't die in terms of the cuts and blow up parts of his body? Why did they give him legs?
Yeah.
It's just
For story purposes.
Story purposes. It's very random, but anyway, it's not important,
Yeah,
but I thought it was
right.
pretty funny. But so that was interesting. So then we open up to season 2. Good grief.
Episode 3.
Episode 3.
And they unplug him and everything. And I
Yeah.
wondered when they started to unplug him if he was gonna die.
I completely thought that.
Which would have been pretty dark. But no,
Yeah.
he's still alive and seems to be doing fairly fine.
But we're going to get to this, but I think it was kind of the backup plan for the Techno Union and Wat Tambor.
It kind of makes me wonder because at the end, and I mean, I don't have a whole lot more to say about the episode unless you do.
Frankly, I don't remember all the content.
I mean, it basically is just a lot of combat. It's basically an episode about them escaping, which is fine.
Yeah.
But there's not a whole lot of like stuff to really get into about it.
You're right. It really isn't.
It was entertaining. It's funny watching Wrecker like grab everybody all the time and
like
throwing them.
scared
He's just like
of the height, but yeah, he's like throwing people.
He's
around.
just like he's just grabbing everybody and throwing them, and they're all like, "Not again!"
and then Rex is like, "Please stop, please."
Um,
That was really good.
And so
let's just go to the
and
end.
so at the end there, everyone's walking up into the ship, and you get this like look back at Echo, and he has this look on his face.
Well, so let's remember what Rex said. And he's like basically they're finally in the ship. They're finally escaping the home world of the Techno Union. Finally escape. And Rex looks at Echo and he's like, "Hey, it's back to old times, mate." And gets back in the ship. And then so Echo is like, yeah, back to old times.
Yeah.
And then so what's very interesting is the music gets very ominous, like very ominous.
there,
So
yeah.
you think, okay, well, is he like he's like a villain? He's been brainwashed. But if you look at his face, though, he's not like malicious. He's sad.
Very sorrowful, yeah.
Like very sad. So it's very crossed wires there, mixed signals. Like I don't really know. Is he
definitely mixed signals?
Is he bad, or is he thinking like is he sad that things will never be back to the way they were, and it's like maybe alluding to Order 66 or something? I don't know.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
I'm not sure where it's gonna go. I've never watched the original arc.
No, I didn't either. Yeah.
Back when they had it out for people to watch in its original form. I've been reading about the changes as the new episodes come out, and that's how I know the changes. But so I don't know the outcome of this story. So I am very interested to see what happens in this, because this next episode will be the last one in the arc. So we will.
Episode, yeah.
Now I've heard a lot of people saying, "Do you think that Echo Base in Empire Strikes Back was a callback to Echo?"
Oh,
Be
that's
kind
a
of
good
cool,
point.
wouldn't it?
I didn't think about
Be
that.
kind of cool if that was, but
Maybe he has to make some big final sacrifice or something. Who knows? You know what I'm saying?
well, see, part of me is like, there's no way he lives past this next episode.
No,
like
no.
I feel like he's totally gonna die. It's just a matter of how does he die.
And I'm of the opinion that not only will Echo die, I believe that either a majority or a good number of the Bad Batch will die too.
Oh my goodness, Wrecker almost dies so many times, and
I know.
like
It's like
they
they're
keep
like-
hinting at
They're like,
it.
okay, he's dying.
gonna
Okay,
die.
guys,
Is he
get
gonna
ready.
die?
You know.
And he keeps like barely escaping, and so I wouldn't be surprised if Wrecker goes.
I would say Wrecker for sure. I would say, I think Hot Shot or whatever. What's the sniper's name?
I don't
Quick
remember.
Shot. The sniper. We'll just call him the sniper. But he's like very like, oh, he doesn't care about anybody. But I couldn't imagine him like sacrificing himself at the very end for somebody redeeming. And
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess technically the whole Bad Batch could end up having to sacrifice themselves
because we don't
as a
really
team to,
hear about him anywhere else, so it would make sense that they all sacrifice because they're like
maybe they have to like sacrifice themselves to let everybody else get away.
That's
or
kinda
they
what I'm
just kind
thinking.
of stay back, something like that.
And I'm thinking like maybe like one by one, something
Or
dramatic.
it could be a
happens.
1-by-1 scenario.
And like
it
the
could be like a
very end-
Mass Effect 2. Everyone team drops off one by one. Oh, that's
Yeah, don't
anyways.
mind me. So
My heart.
my heart, my soul. Anyway, so then we, I can imagine that at the very end. I'm sorry guys for not knowing all their names. I can't remember, but the ranger or whatever. I don't know. The main one, the leader.
Yeah.
At the very, I can imagine.
I can only remember Wrecker. I don't know why.
Well, because he's the most like
Yeah.
And I think they say his name more than all the other ones too.
Yeah.
But I can imagine like the leader like being like the very last one, and he has I could see that. And he's like, "Oh, my team's already dead,"
Right. Oh yeah, totally.
So It'd be kind of dark, but I could, and let's finish this conversation up by saying this. I could imagine that being a little darker because season 5, 6, or season 6 especially, when Netflix took it over, was very dark, which was a good thing. I thought it was great. Now that Disney has it, it may not be as dark, but I could see them doing some darker things with it. Secondarily, in conclusion, I think that after episode 4, although I like the show, I think it's going to get exponentially better, in my opinion, because they are being withholden to the pre-written story. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're being withholden to the Bad Batch arc that was already created many, many years ago. But once that's over, now we have the Siege of Mandalore, hopefully Order 66. We're going to have a lot of things where they can do what they want to do. I think it's going to be good. So
I think that's where we're really going to get like some callbacks to a lot of stuff they've created in canon since the Clone Wars, things like that. I just think there's a lot of things they could hint at, show.
Yeah.
I'm really excited.
So we have a lot of talk. We could say a lot about that, but let's move on. That's kind of our thoughts on episode 2 and 3, and we'll talk about episode 4 next week. But let's go on. So now let's talk about kind of the main thing everyone's probably wondering about, and that is the reveal. Again, spoilers, but we're already in that. But the reveal of Palpatine and how he came back.
And this is spoilers for the movie and the novelization of Rise of Skywalker, which is not out yet. Yeah. But Del Rey decided to go ahead and hand this out at a convention early, so it's on them.
Yeah, this is their fault.
I hate that this is all out there already. I hate it because I wanted to read this book and see it for myself. But it's out there. It's big news, so we're going to talk about it.
And as titans of the Star Wars industry, we have to be the forefront, cutting edge.
Titans, that's right.
And
so Palpatine. We find out in this novel.
Let's just throw it out. Just rip the Band-Aid off.
That Palpatine is a clone.
Oh my God.
He is a clone.
Wow.
Basically, the Sith Eternal, they have started working on trying to bring back Palpatine. His spirit went to he had a place for his spirit to go, I guess.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
It says that during the Return of the Jedi, that he sent his spirit off to a faraway place to prepare. That's what it said. Right. Yeah.
So they're working on giving him a body, and so they create a clone that, and I guess it can't hold his body for long. So it's like corrupting and like decaying. And so that's why he has the appearance that he has.
Yeah, I was completely under the auspice that the reason he was so decrepit is that he fell down a shaft and blew up, and
it was his dead, decaying body that had just been reanimated with. I'm not huge on this. I'll be honest. I don't know. I really liked Palpatine coming back.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of it being his dead, decaying body that they have brought back just enough for him to be able to do what he needed to do.
Well,
but he wasn't perfectly normal, but he was brought back just enough. Because now, if Palpatine was a clone, that means, was he did he start off as a baby and grow up and go be? So was he how long did this last?
That's a good point.
How long was he a strong, normal person before he started decaying?
Yeah.
And why did he wait till he was decaying? And see, there's a lot of just weird stuff about it. And it makes me wonder, there's a lot of talk about Matt Smith being in this, and that Matt Smith was going to be a young Palpatine.
Yeah.
And I could totally still see that being kind of where this stems from, is that a younger Palpatine clone was going to look like Matt Smith.
Yeah.
I just think if it had been Palpatine's original body, I just think it would have been better. Because this opens up a whole nother.
Yeah. Where did they? Okay,
so many questions.
People are like, we're running a low on time because I could talk about this a lot, but at the end of the day, the Kaminoans perfected cloning technology. But they did start from an embryonic cell, right? They started off as a little baby that grew up into a full-grown adult.
Right.
So they didn't just press a button and all of a sudden this fully grown clone trooper comes out. So I don't know. That's a great question. What makes me think is that maybe the Sith Eternal like mixed cloning technology with like some of the dark side alchemy type thing and like made this weird amalgamation. That's why he was corrupted. Because I've also heard stories or rumors
Well,
that
I think you're exactly right. I think it was a mix of cloning and their Sith alchemy or whatever you want to call it, dark arts.
Yeah.
I think that it was a mix of that. They couldn't do it just cloning alone, because if it was just cloning alone, I don't think they had the Force. I think that was the missing aspect.
Well,
and the reason I say that, going to the next big reveal in the novel, is that Rey's father, which was Palpatine's son,
quote unquote,
is not his son. It's a clone. Palpatine or Rey's father was actually, I'm not even sure if it was before. They made a clone, and it was a clone that was a little different in appearance, it says, and that did not end up having Force powers.
Well, here's the thing.
But then Palpatine, but it says Palpatine decided. So it's like Palpatine was already back. But Palpatine decided that, hey, this can go off and continue my bloodline.
Yeah. Well, so here's the thing. That makes me think then that it does start from the baby, because we look at the dad in episode 9. He's not Palpatine, right? And
he wasn't going to look like Palpatine, though. He had a different. They say he was,
but he's young though. My point is that he was young. Yeah. So it makes me think that they did start as a baby.
Very true.
So also though, and that's the thing. A lot of the rumors I've heard is that why he looks so decrepit is that the body, you cannot clone the Force, and that so when you try to clone a Force sensitive person, it like corrupts that body because it can't. It's not natural Force life in it. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that then now you're saying like the Palpatine decided it could have been that again he sent his spirit away to Exegol, right? Because it was a strong Force sensitive planet of the Sith.
And maybe he had a way of communicating with them.
Well, that's what I'm saying, like a shrine or something.
Yeah, before he had a body, and maybe that's
what I'm thinking.
That probably is the case, because I can't imagine that the son was created, and then. But he had already had a body, unless they were just trying to continue to make extra bodies for him to go to. Because who's to say that's not the first one that?
Yeah, and there's a lot of questions.
There's so many questions.
But you guys can pick this up for free.
Yeah.
One of you lucky fans can pick this up for free. Whenever we get 500 likes, we will be doing a contest. That's great. That's
good. But so
you guys can figure this out yourself for free.
It's crazy, man. I mean, this is the way they've went. This is canon. This is what's so, I'm not gonna sit here and complain about it necessarily. I do think it's quite interesting they've decided to do this. I think there's so many questions.
Crazy. I mean, there's so many things.
I don't know how they're going to answer it all. And I think the other thing with this, to me, this tells me that Snoke was probably also a botched clone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would say Snoke was also a botched clone, that they're like, well,
I will say this. We're all surprised about the cloning, but he was cloning Snoke. So, I mean, they were obviously working with those. Because if you look behind it, we don't see Snoke in other, like, back-to-tank things. They're all, like, empty. But there's several back-to-tank, like, things that could have very much held clones.
Yeah, I mean...
The very first
scene,
and episode 9.
The guy, Dominic, whatever, Dominic Monaghan, I can't say his last name. But he was from Lost. That's how I remember him.
Oh yeah.
He says it could be cloning or something else.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was thrown in there that could be one of the reasons.
That's true.
And I know that's in part of it. They were like, we're gonna do cloning because that ties in the prequels.
Yeah.
Not really.
I
mean,
especially not the way they did
it. Not the way they did it. It'd been different if they'd been like, oh, well, they brought in the Camino's technology and really tied in the prequels.
Well, because here's the thing. At some point in the Empire, right, they made the decision. Oh, okay, man, this is about to blow my mind. We're late and wrong time, but I gotta just say this. Okay. So at some point, we know that the Emperor made an executive decision that there's going to be no more clones, right? We're just going to stormtroopers now. And there is a non-canon story as to why that is. And, there's no point in even talking about it because it's not canon. But with that being said, what would be interesting is the part of the reason why the Empire was able to rise is because they created the clones. And I guarantee you, Palpatine did not want that to happen, and he probably destroyed all the Kaminoans. I mean, we don't hear about that. This is just totally speculation, but I could almost guarantee you that there's like an executive order from Palpatine that all the stormtroopers in the Empire went and killed all the Kaminoans because they could not do it again and try to rise up against them. But what would be interesting is that there are these leftover Kaminoans that they kept for the Empire, and they like brought them in for this cloning. I don't know. That's completely crazy, but
yeah. Well, and in the novel Kylo Ren, it says he recognizes from studying the Clone Wars some of the tubes and things that they had there that was apparently Kamino technology. So
who knows? Who knows?
It's crazy, man.
It's a lot of questions.
I guess for me, even more so the fact, all the cloning stuff aside, what bothers me about this is that they didn't take the time to explain it in the movie.
Yeah, like,
if they had made this clear in the movie, it'd be different. I would accept it more. But for me, the problem is they're like, hey, we don't think that moviegoers are going to want all this extra stuff. It's going to be too much. I'm tired of that. I'm going to be honest. I'm tired of these high executives thinking that people
are too stupid to understand things.
Yeah, or that everyone wants to just go and see just shoot them up.
Flashy colors,
yeah.
You know.
Listen, we want more than that. We want explanations for these things.
Dude.
Give us 5 extra minutes in the movie and explain some of this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's not going to hurt the movie. Think about 5 or 10 minutes what could have been explained just a 5 or 10 minute add-on to this movie. Why can't you do that?
It could have been.
Why in the world could you not do that? And I think that would have made the difference in this.
I agree.
But
we could talk about this all the time. But
I'm gonna throw in one more thing.
Okay.
And this is talking about the issue, the last Star Wars issue. I want to make mention of this real quick. For any of you that have read this, I just want your thoughts on it, and maybe you guys can comment once we post about this. Once we post this on Facebook and stuff, maybe post your thoughts on this in the comments. So if you guys have read it, we know that they go back to Cloud City, and so they go and they all have like different things they're doing, but Leia goes and she goes back to where Han was frozen carbonite, and she goes down in the thing and she's like trying to look at how, I guess she's like studying on how to decarbonite someone.
Yeah.
And so these stormtroopers come in. Well, anyways, she gets frozen in carbonite.
Really? Okay, and just I unfortunately I did not read this last week, so I'm actually hearing the rest.
She gets frozen in carbonite. So it's like this is I call this oversaturation. Okay, and this is where we're getting oversaturated in Star Wars, because that was unnecessary. Because now we have to say, in between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, Han and Leia were frozen in carbonite.
Yeah, I mean, why? What does that add to the story?
It doesn't add to the story at all. And that just hurt me. It hurt me deep to my core when I read that, when I saw that. I was like, no, why? Why would you do that?
I think it does detract a little bit from her character as like, oh, she's just so bumbling that she just gets frozen. Like, I don't know. It's just weird.
It's just a weird... I just don't understand why she has to do it too. Why did it... What does it add to the story? And maybe they'll surprise me, and maybe they'll make there be a good reason for it, but I just don't get it. I don't see that. I know I'm being negative today on this episode, but
oh, he's got bronchitis, man. Leave him
maybe
alone.
It's the bronchitis, maybe it's the meds. I don't know, but like, I'm curious what you guys think. So please leave a comment once we post this episode up. Leave a comment and tell me what you guys think about that. If you guys are cool with it, if you're excited about the outcome of that, or if you guys think, maybe it's a little much. And that's, and it goes along with some of the other things we've gotten in comics. Like, there's that episode where like they all have a lightsaber. Have you read that one? Mm-hmm. Where like Han and Luke and Leia and Chewbacca, they all got lightsabers, and you're like,
wait a second, what?
Like, that's
why?
I don't know that I need that.
Yeah,
stuff like that, but. And so, and there's just so many issues of comics that, there's just so much story they put in there. And,
oh, yeah.
But I think something like that is just a little over the top. But I'm really curious what you guys think, and I just wanted to mention that. So let us know in the comments. But do you have anything else you want to add, Braxton?
Honestly, I'm actually going to read it today because I did not get a chance to read it last week. But just from what you're saying, it just throws me for a loop as to why they do that. And it's like you said, I think you kind of mentioned it, but like it's like they're just trying to find something to put in there. It's like they're like we don't really know what to say.
And what's interesting is we have so many other great plot points that they're leading towards in that series right now.
Yeah.
And like with the person who grabbed Luke's lightsaber and the High Republic stuff. And so it's like, what was the purpose in this?
Yeah, I mean, you could have went so many different directions, but you had to like add this like random thing that's really non-consequential. So
yeah, it's like, hey, let's, you know how Han got in Carbonite? Let's like make Leia go through the same thing.
Whoa! Now that's great storytelling. And now that's pod racing.
Anyways, with that being said, we want to thank you guys for joining us today. Please go check out our Facebook and Twitter. Give us a like and comment your thoughts on today's episode. And also be looking out for our Rise of Skywalker novelization giveaway. That should be as soon as we get that 500 likes, we're going to be posting that. But until next time, may the Force be with you. And we thank you for joining the Jedi Eternal.